This is Life Transformation Radio. Prepare to engage. Seatbelt activated. Download initiated. Your quantum journey of transformation begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. Hi, I'm Rob Actis, best-selling author of The Law of Action, voice actor, business mindset coach, the podcast whisperer, and Mr. Action himself. Life Transformation Radio is heard in over 90 countries. Thank you for joining us from all around the world. Whether it's your first time joining us or you've been listening to Life Transformation Radio for some time, I want to personally thank you. Here at Life Transformation Radio, we are committed to share more about real life, love, the power of positivity, romance, and of course, laughter. We care about helping others find their internal drive and purpose. We celebrate life's challenges and overcoming them. Please rate and review Life Transformation Radio on your favorite podcast platform. Also, a personal invitation from me to you. Please join us on Facebook in the Life Transformation Radio community. On this show, my guests are amazing people who are forces for good in the world around them and live a life of transformation. My guest today, well, she does that. Today, Honorée Corder and I discuss trauma and, when healed, how it can allow us to help others. If you want to learn to see that every challenge has seeds of opportunity that allow us to help others and to know that the best is always yet to come, this is the show for you. My dear friend, longtime dear friend, Honorée Corder is an executive and strategic book coach, TEDx speaker, and author of dozens of books, including You Must Write a Book. And some of those books I narrated. We'll talk about that. Honorée and my very dear friend Hal Elrod partnered to expand The Miracle Morning into the Miracle Morning book series. Yep, that's my voice. Honorée provides group and one-on-one strategic book coaching to business professionals who want to write, publish, and market their books to bestseller status, create a platform, and develop multiple income streams. I think she's at like 69 income streams. I don't want to ask her about that. Honorée, welcome to Life Transformation Radio.
Hi, that was the best intro ever. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. What a thrill. I have known you for so long, and we've been through so much. Oh. And we've really transformed the world. Like, wow.
I think we're one Miracle Morning book at a time, one book at a time, right? You've done all the Miracle Morning books, and I don't know how many of mine. How many books have you narrated of mine? All of them.
Well, all of you. You Must Write a Book. Let's see. The Divorce Phoenix. The Divorce Phoenix. Yeah.
If divorce is a game. Blah, 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 blah.
A lot. A lot. No, not blah, blah, yes. Blah, but it's really great. And
well, I did all of them. I did one of them. You did all of them except for one. I did one, and that's it. When someone says, oh, I'll just narrate my own book, I'm like, okay.
I just say, hi, I'm Honorée Corder. Welcome.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is the author, Honorée Corder. Yeah.
You know, we have known each other for a long time, and we have gone through a lot. I mean, there's been trauma with Hal, our very dear friend Hal. I remember the phone calls of like, oh my God. And I know that you've been through trauma, and I know that you're so powerful. And I love that about you. You just you're badass. I mean, you really are. You have badassery about you. You know that. Your badassery. I remember reading that many times.
Yes. Thank you very much. It takes one to know one.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, you know, we talk a lot about business, and this is all about transformation. This is where we get to get woo-woo and talk about our feelings and emotion. And so, you know, where did you start? Like, your badassery is pretty legendary. And you're very fierce, and you're very strong, and you're very powerful. Did it come from like this incredible childhood? Where did this all come from?
Well, it depends on how you define incredible.
Well, incredible. Yes. So incredibly good or incredibly bad? or just
Both.
incredible? Okay.
Both. I had some trauma as a child, so um, abuse at home,
Yeah.
domestic violence at home, left home, was in a foster home, went home to my birth parents' house, lived in a children's home, and then finally just left home as a senior in high school, worked 3 jobs and finished high school. And so some trauma, when you bring up trauma, I've had some of that, and I choose to view it as my greatest gift. If without that trauma, I would not be the person that I am today, good, bad, or indifferent. I believe it's mostly good. It's taught me to appreciate everything, not take anything for granted. I have never lived a day I didn't work hard and relish in the hard work and be grateful that I have work to do.
Well,
I don't take relationships or friendships lightly because I know how fragile they can be, and I don't discard the good or the bad. I just look for the blessing. So,
well, it's interesting. I have tears in my eyes, knowing for you so long, and I had a very similar path. I had a very challenging childhood. I moved out in my teens. I was molested as a kid. I was domestic violence. There was violence from my stepfather, alcoholic stepfather to me. And, I was just in another podcast a moment ago, and I was talking about how I used to get beat all the time with a belt. And it was because, I may do something this week or yesterday just to want to make sure that I was caught up into my punishment. And it's amazing.
Yeah, hurt people, Rob, right? So if you can look at that as there was a hurt person.
Oh, absolutely.
Just hurting the person that they could hurt because they couldn't hurt the person that hurt them, right? It's like pay it forward because you can't pay it back, but in an awful way as opposed to in a giving way.
Yeah, I love the fact that...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love the fact that we've thrived. And I think that shows hope for people that are having a challenging time right now, that are going through domestic violence. There's a lot of things that are going on with this COVID that, domestic violence has really increased. I mean, it's easy in a normal world.
Correct.
It's interesting because the most powerful people that I've met in this world, unfortunately, they've had really challenging lives. And I have met people that have extraordinary childhoods, and they may not, but they say they have, and they're successful. But the majority of people that I've met have had really challenging lives. And it makes
I think everyone does. It's all relative.
Right, but there are the people that say, "Oh my God, my childhood was so amazing, and it was so this, and it was perfect all the time." And is that reality? I don't know. I don't know many people.
Honestly, if it's true, that's wonderful. And there are some people that have had really great childhoods.
I
and
hope it is true.
I'm so glad if they do. I do. Right. I wish that for everyone. Absolutely.
So congratulations on who you have become. I mean, you talk about, and Hal talks about, and I talk about, is that we're responsible for our lives in all ways, shape, and you are such a driver. So you moved out of the house in your teen, you moved in. What happened from there?
I pursued, I was working 3 jobs to eat. So there's that. But then once I kind of got my wits about me, I started to pursue things that I wanted to pursue that didn't necessarily work out. So I did some modeling and commercials, but mostly I was a temp, right? Living in New York City, just temping. And thank goodness I learned how to type in 7th grade typing for the win, right? It saved me. I think I tested it like 130 words a minute or something. And
what's up? 100 and how many?
100
and how many?
130.
Okay, so
130.
I have a friend, Stacy, and she just was so blown away by the fact how long it takes me to type. And I hunt and peck. And she's like, no. So I'm taking a typing class now. I was at 13 words a minute. I was at 98% accuracy at 13 words, and now I'm up to
Good.
27 words a minute. And I now know
You've doubled.
I now
That's
know
good.
my ASDF and my JKL, and that's where I'm at right now. I went all the way down to the basics.
JKL semi.
Yeah.
JKL
No,
semi.
that's the next lesson.
Once you learn how to touch type, it's all over. It's all over. It's all over, Rob. And then you can go to like Miss Mavis and take your typing test. You're going to crush it.
I know. And it's so funny because I was doing DAS. No, what is it? It was,
ASDF.
Yeah, ASDF, but I was doing JASK and DASK and LASK. And I'm like, whoa. And I was like, my fingers are moving. And I'm like, yeah. Okay, my ADD kicked in. We digress. So you're doing 140 words a minute, which is like, I don't even think, like, it had to have been computer because my aunt typed about that, and she had an IBM Selectric typewriter, and she used to type so fast, probably faster than that even, that it couldn't keep up. I think she was like 165. She was like this freak.
So that was the reward. That was the reward.
If you could break it.
I am so old. How old are you? Right?
I know.
That when I took 7th grade typing test, it was a manual return. Do you remember manual return?
That was me.
So
that was me.
Pay attention.
Yes.
You had to pay attention to when you got to the end of the line because you had to leave an inch at the end of the paper and then you had to return.
Yes.
And if you got so far, you had to put a dash so that you could continue. And then if you screwed up, then you had to roll it up, roll, like click, 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 and then use an eraser, erase, and then roll it back down and line it up and then put the letter in there. So if you had the fastest typing test with no errors, then you got to use the IBM Selectric, which had the corrector in it. So you could backspace with the automatic.
That was the one with the
whiteout.
ball, right?
Remember
the one with the
whiteout?
ball.
Yes.
That was,
and you could reverse
They never
and
let me touch that.
it would erase it for you and then you could type over it. But of course it showed. So it was just better not to screw up.
Yeah.
Honestly, those were the days. That's legit gangster stuff right there. Gangster typing.
It was amazing. So different now. Yeah. So different now. So that's, okay. So you're doing that. So that's another trait of your career path, being able to type so fast. Cause you do what, 2,000 words a day, which is just incredible. And you just,
but it's being friendly, knowing how to type and being friendly has saved my bacon and made me bacon.
I only know how to be friendly. I don't know how to type, but it's good. I love it. So you were self-sufficient and you were modeling and you were also being a temp typing.
Trying. You've never seen me. You're before, so the modeling didn't work out, Rob.
I'm shocked. You're really beautiful. You have this really just incredible energy about you, and really modeling is just connecting with the camera. So, and you know what's great is that you're not the top model now. However, you have transformed so many lives with your books. So I think wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Wouldn't trade it. But there was a time when I weighed like nothing and they were like, you need to go lose some weight. And so I ran myself around like a crazy person. And you were in New York, right? Eat less and be skinnier. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a sandwich and get a different job. I'm going to go type. Okay. So then what did you do?
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then what did you do?
So I started my own business. I started my own network marketing business. And that's the hardest type of business to be in. And not long after that, I got married to my first husband and he was military. So I took my business to all the different bases where he lived, where we lived, where he was stationed. And the company that I was with that I still buy products from and love and have used since the 70s, went through a series of changes. And I was frustrated with the fact that they were changes that happened in ownership rapidly. Right. And I felt like I was like, okay, now we're excited about this change. And then, oh no, now we're excited about this change. And I just couldn't get excited. And I also was like, what's the next change? What am I going to have to sell to my downline? And the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. And I had a business coach and my business coach said, you would make a great business coach. And I said, but I didn't go to college. I don't have any credentials. I don't have any letters after my name. And she said, you do. You have this business, you're successful, you should try coaching. And so I taught myself coaching, which is a longer story than we probably have for today, but I used resources that she gave me, and I, nerd alert, went into the tunnel of learning coaching, what the coaching conversation, how to empower and inspire people, what that meant from an integrity perspective, because people want to be led by people who are in integrity. Absolutely. And so working on my own reserves, one of the resources I used talked about having a super reserve of everything, a super reserve of space and money and time and love and organization and all those things. And so I'm kind of a checkbox person. So it was like, well, you better have X amount of years of money in the bank. Okay, check. And so as I was going through and following all the directions, putting my ducks in a row so that the people who were coming to me could say, are you coaching me from a place of experience, or are you coaching me from a place of theory? Right. And I'm like, I'm coaching you from a place of experience, which I think is different than just like, oh, I've done it once or twice, let me teach someone else to do it, which is just not my preference for myself. So then coaching led to speaking, because that's how you market your coaching business. So I started speaking, and then someone called me one time and said, we only have $3,500 to pay our keynoter, and we're sure that's an insult and much less than you normally make. Would you make an exception? And I was like, yeah, I'll make an exception and take money for speaking. Hello. Yeah, that's so great. Right. I was so honored by that. And that started my paid speaking. And so then I started paid speaking. And then that led to You Must Write a Book, which is what Mark Victor Hansen said to me, the co-creator of the Chicken Soup for the series, Chicken Soup for the Soul book series. He said, you must write a book. Everybody is a coach and a speaker. He literally said to me, honey, everybody is a coach and a speaker. You must write a book. And I went, okay, sure, Mark, what could possibly go wrong? I don't have college. I'm not a writer. Like, okay, sure, I'll just write a book. No problem. But I took his advice. Because he said, everyone's in a coach and a speaker. If you want to differentiate yourself, you must write a book. So I wrote my first book, and then I just kept writing books, which led to my business coaching client saying, I discovered you because of your book. It differentiated you from other coaches to me. Should I write a book too? And my answer was always yes. And then the next thing that happened were all the questions. Well, what do I write about? And who am I to write a book? And what goes in the book? And how do I publish it? And how do I market it? And how do I, generate new business? And so that's really what has brought me to my present day, is that my business coaching clients and my executives were saying, I want to write a book too, because I want that bump in authority. I want that bump in brand and face recognition. I want that bump in income. And I found you because of that. And I'm paying you quite a bit of money, Honorée, which I would imagine is a direct result of the fact that you're a published author. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. And so ultimately I've transitioned my coaching practice to be almost strictly strategic book coaching and helping people to write and publish and monetize their books. That's awesome. Awesome. And here we are. And you're my voice. There you go. Oh yeah, absolutely. People go, I want to hear your voice. And I'm like, you don't. You want to hear Rob's voice. Well, it's fun. It's very reading my voice. It's very flattering to me that here I am, a male voice, reading Honorée, and it really opens a conversation with a lot of people. They're like, why did Honorée get you to do it? Because have you heard my voice? Have you heard my voice? Hello. Have you heard my voice? No, heard my voice. No, heard my voice. Yeah. Delightful. Well, thank you. Right. That's what I'm saying. Have you? Yeah. No, but I'm speaking as you, but are you listening? Yeah. Do you hear how pleasant this sounds? Well, that's why. It's amazing. You hear this voice? Not the same level of pleasant. Okay. I'm no dummy. Well, I mean, there's some people when they talk, their voices are very soothing or inspirational or whatever you're looking for. Right. And then there are other people that are not meant to be voiceover people. Let's just say what it is. There's nothing bad about it, but there's a reason that the person that does meditation doesn't sound like this. Okay, now close your eyes and relax. Take a deep breath. Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a little bit of logic. There's a little bit of logic behind things that are effective in different arenas, and your voice is very effective as a voiceover person. And that's just how
Yeah,
it is. And I was lucky enough. So let's just call it what it is. I was blessed and lucky enough to be connected with you, and you were kind enough and gracious enough to narrate my books. So
absolutely. Well, I love doing it. And,
it's been work.
I've recommended a lot of people get the book, The Divorce Phoenix, How to Rise from the Ashes After Divorce, because a lot of my friends are getting divorced right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because...
Yes, and that's a pandemic thing.
Absolutely.
Right? You find out really if you like the person you're with, because there's a lot of togetherness.
You know what's the wildest thing about this book of The Divorce Phoenix? I was getting divorced when I was doing the audiobook, so I was going through it. And I used the stuff in the book. Like I think back to Hal Elrod. Yeah, I think to Hal, and I'm like, I'm not a morning person. And I start doing this. I'm like, well, maybe I should start doing this miracle morning thing. This just sounds crazy, but I'm going to try it. I used to get up at like 11:30, and now I get up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I've been doing it for 8 years. And I talk about the miracle morning all the time. I talk about Hal. It's amazing the transformation that your life can have when you trust someone else's success. Like that's the best part about books is that you don't have to go through the life experience that Hal went through. You don't have to go through the life experience that I went through or that Honorée went through. You can learn from our experience and not have to do that and fast forward and get to the good stuff.
Yeah, do it the easy way. Read what someone else went through, learn what they figured out, and apply that. That's your fast path.
It is.
Your fastest path or your fast pass. English is my first language, so I'll get it out.
There you go. Well, it's funny. People say, I can't be successful. And I go, look, there are tens of thousands of blueprints, step by step, how to do it. The only difference of their success and your not success is one, you're not taking action to go find that blueprint, the right one, whatever it is. And number two, of actually applying what it says to do in the book.
Right. And also it's not in stone, someone else's formula. Like let's use the lifesavers, for example. There is no one way to do the lifesavers. You don't have to do 5 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of affirmation, 20 minutes of exercise. You can do 1 minute of each, or you can do an hour of each if your schedule allows. It's really taking someone's recipe. I like to use baking cookies as an analogy for it.
Love it.
It's like some people like snickerdoodles and some people like chocolate chip cookies and some people like peanut butter cookies.
I like them all.
I know. See, I pick a good analogy.
You did. I got all excited.
But you can take a basic recipe. I know you're like, which cookie am I getting?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
You can take a basic recipe and customize. Yeah, it's like, what is Tanya going to bake when I get off of podcasting today? I'm going to need cookies. But you can take a basic recipe and you can customize it. You can say, well, I don't want chocolate chips, but I want butterscotch chips, or I don't want dark chocolate chips. I want milk chocolate chips or white chocolate chips. You can change it so that it works for you. You can take someone else's basic recipe or basic formula and then customize it to make you successful, because there is no one size fits all anything ever.
Right.
And it's discovering which of the 10,000 formulas you want to adapt and customize to your own self, and then do that. Just using someone else's experience is like using a template instead of a blank page.
Yeah, and
you've got something to start from.
Yeah, and the reason I was bringing up on that is because, you've helped bring. So what I've done with the Miracle Morning is I brought Hal's words to life. I didn't write the Miracle Morning. I brought them to life in the audio way. And what you've done is taken people's words, their life story, their stories of transformation, their brilliance, and brought it to life in the printed form and sometimes the audio form. And that is so transformational. Yeah. And I'm sure that's very humbling. It's very humbling for me to be part of the Miracle Morning.
Yes.
And what that's done.
Yes.
And I even think of all the people that have heard the divorce, even the people that have heard the Divorce Phoenix. I love the fact that, maybe some of these women or men are not going to read the book, but instead they can just listen to me bring it to life, your words, and they can easily get through this terrible time of divorce.
Which is not so terrible.
No, it's not.
It's a time of transformation. It feels
Exactly.
awful. It can feel awful at the time, but it is just like, they're a seed and they're being covered with manure, right? It's like what they grow into next.
Yeah.
Is it, and just for 1 second, if someone is listening to this and going through a divorce, I always think of divorce as the great reset button. When you go through a divorce,
Yeah.
you can legitimately change your life and do whatever you want. If you're in a happy marriage and you come home and you're like, I'm going to give up voicing, I'm going to become a yoga teacher, I'm going to open a bagel shop, right? Your spouse will be like, have you lost your mind? Right? But if you're going through a divorce and you say to someone, well, I went through a divorce and I'm opening a bagel shop and I'm becoming a yoga teacher.
Good for you.
They will congratulate you.
Good for you. Yeah, it's funny. Well,
good for you. That's amazing.
I have a few friends that are in the middle of divorce right now, and wow, they have done both men and women, and they've gotten divorce hot. Like they've transformed everything about their life. They were stuck at home and they weren't branching out, and they're going to classes. Some are going to schools. One's starting a business. One is, gone from being a homemaker. She wasn't allowed to work, and now she's divorced and she has to provide for herself. She just went from homemaker to 6-figure job because she's so freaking amazing. And her husband never let her know that.
You don't have to get a divorce to do that.
No.
You don't have to get a divorce to do that. But if you're going through a divorce, one way to look at it is you have the opportunity to discover what you want, when you want it, how you want it, and go and create that. And there's nothing limiting you. There's nothing stopping you. You do have a clean slate and a springboard from which to jump.
Well, so you wrote the book, I know, based on life experience.
I did.
And look what you did. You overcame like a lot. And I love that is that, you're able to put your experiences into words very quickly, and you overcame your divorce and you transformed. So what were you before you were divorced? Like, what transformation was there? Like, you play at a very high level now. Were you playing at that level? Or were you not allowed to play at that level?
No. Well, there was no allowing. I mean, I'm not tempted to say that I wasn't allowed from an external factor. I would say that my upbringing and what I went through as a kid both enabled me to play at a high level and also did not enable me to play at a high level because I didn't believe that I was worthy. And if you don't believe it's possible and you don't believe you're worthy, then guess what? You're either not going to do it or you're going to do it so far and you're going to hit your upper limit and sabotage.
Right.
And so I had some work to do on myself to remove limiting beliefs and to expand into what was possible for me. And in that work, I came to understand not only myself, but other people and how they were wired. And so I can see where people hit their upper limits or when people hit their outer boundaries and can sometimes offer if they're open to it, right? I don't do it unless someone asks me.
Right.
Because sometimes people don't want to hear it or they're not able to hear it. But for me personally, I had a ton of work to do on myself, but, P.S. still doing it.
Absolutely.
Still in that process, right? It
Absolutely.
never stops. If you have a growth mindset, it never stops. And I do. But no, I mean, it had nothing really to do with my ex-husband. It was my beliefs that got me into that marriage. And thankfully, he moved on and left me to figure some things out, which I did. It gave me the opportunity to enable myself to do it, right? So I don't have any blame or anything like that for him. I'm only grateful for that time. I learned a lot of things in the marriage and because of the marriage, because of being exposed to the military and all sorts of wonderful things.
Right.
And we just weren't the right couple together. And so we created a beautiful daughter together. And then I got to have a great reset and to figure out what was possible for me. And I don't think I would have done it in any of this within that marriage. Now I'm in a great marriage, almost 13 years. And my second husband could not be more, he could not be more of an enabler, but
Right.
in the best possible way.
To
right?
do whatever
He
the heck
allows
you want to
me,
do, like the
enables
sky's
me
the limit.
to do whatever I want to do. Yes,
Right.
with 100% love and support and encouragement and a soft place to fall, and also like, go get 'em, tiger kind of thing, which is exactly what I think I need. And it's worked out. It's worked out really, really well. I consider myself blessed. And it's because I did the work. I did the work after husband number one. And I remember my therapist saying to me, and actually it was a girlfriend of mine who said to me, you got to do your work. And I didn't know what she meant really at that time, but she said, you've got to do the work. She said, otherwise you'll just get married again and it'll be the same guy. He'll have a different name and a different job, but it'll be the exact same guy. And I thought, maybe not that.
Right.
maybe I don't want to do that again. I'll do my work. So I did a lot of work. And as I know, the work is not fun. The work is painful and it's humbling, and it has you look at the ugliest, deepest parts of yourself and really try to figure out. For me, it was, do I want to be that person? Do I want to be that intense? Because as going through trauma of any kind, you adapt, right? You become less effective. Let's not say good, bad, right, or wrong, but I'd say less effective with people, personality-wise, those sorts of things. And it's like, well, is this how I want to be perceived? Is this who I want to be in the world? Is this the example I want to set? Is this the kind of parent or spouse or friend or
Right.
client or coach or speaker that I want to be? Or do I want to have good energy, and do I want people to feel good around me? Do I want people to feel accepted? And ultimately it comes down to, how do I want to be accepted by other people? Well, I want to be accepted, so I better be accepting. I want to be loved, so I better be loving, right? All the things. It causes a great amount of opportunity for reflection and revision when necessary, right? Revising is a book term, right? I'm going to revise the manuscript, but sometimes it's just a revising of ourselves. When we realize that things aren't working the way we want them to work, we have the opportunity to change them.
Yeah.
About ourselves.
You have to do the work. You have to continue to really learn and experience life. I mean, we're not 20 anymore, and I still do the work. I think it's one of the most important things that I can do for the people in my life. Every day. Yeah. And, that's the power of the Miracle Morning, because I think of how much personal development, I've said this many times in the book, but look, if you just read 10 pages, is it 5? I thought it was 10. Yeah, 3. Okay, oh, yeah. 10. No, it's 10 because it's 3,520 pages of personal development that you would consume a year. Like, what would your life be like if you consumed almost 4,000 pages?
It would be like this.
It would be like this, exactly.
It's like this.
It's so true. And even the most...
It's exactly like this.
The most successful people I know, they keep doing the work and they still do personal development. They still keep flexing their brain. It's so important.
Because it's awesome. It's awesome.
It is awesome.
And I learn something new every day. I'm constantly saying to someone, I'm reading this book, and this is the book I'm reading, and this is what the author said today. And it's fun to have some of those discussions.
Yeah, it opens up the door. That's all we have in life is conversations and connection with people that we care about being around. Our close tribe. Having that circle of people.
We only have so much time, right?
Right.
You only have so much time. You only have so many minutes. You only have so many loops around the sun. You got to have good people around you for sure.
It makes it so much nicer, whether it's a dinner or just hanging out by the pool or whatever it is. But all the monetary stuff is just kind of like, when you break it all down. I say this often is that if you had 60 minutes, people say, there's so much going on in my life. I don't know what's important. Okay, well, sit down in a chair and imagine I look you in the eyes and I say, you have 60 minutes to be on this planet, and then you're gone. What's important to you now? And immediately, everything...
You'd be making phone calls.
You'd be making phone calls. You have 60 minutes. Right. And you will see who's important in your life and who's not important, and it becomes very clear.
Yep. I'd be making phone calls.
So what is your why?
Yeah.
What is your why?
Oh, my why. That's a very deep question, and the answer is that I'm trying to figure out how to verbalize this quickly. I want people to have more joy and more happiness and more success faster.
I like that.
Like not success as in like money or intangible things, right? I don't want you to have a better iPhone or a nicer car.
The riches of life.
I want them to have the riches of life without the pain and suffering.
I love that.
So I try to guide people going, oh wait, that's a pothole. I've been in that pothole, or that's a cliff. I've been over the cliff. Maybe don't go that way. Right?
I've been over a few cliffs. I've been over a few cliffs. I hung on tight.
Yeah, but to say like I'm your Sherpa.
Right.
I'm your guide. I'm your Sherpa. I'm a safe space for you. And if you're open to it, and some people are not, some people can get to a certain place where they're like, I'm good. I don't want any more from this. I don't want to look at this or whatever, which is totally fine. There's no judgment from me. If there's anything I've learned is that when someone is pointing with judgment, they've got three coming back, right? So the people who are the most judgy and the most angry are not angry at me. They're most angry at themselves. So I just, I live through the words of Buddha, which says, if you give someone a gift and they refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?
Yeah, I love that.
So if someone gives me anger or frustration or whatever, it's like, nope, I'm not accepting that. I return that to you, but I return it with love. Because it's hard. It's hard to be that person that's that tense and that upset and that angry and that frustrated. Like you're holding, I tell this to Lexi, my daughter, I tell her anytime you're angry at someone, it's like drinking poison and expecting them to die.
Yeah.
Like they don't even know you're mad. They don't care. They're Baskin Robbins having a triple scoop. They literally do not know that you're mad at them. And you're over here losing your mind, burning a hole in your stomach because you're so upset, and they do not care.
Not at all.
So do not be mad.
Yeah.
Do not be mad. And if someone's mad at you, don't be mad at them back. Like don't meet anger with anger, right? Just move to the side and let it go past you.
Well,
so my why is to help people to walk a path that I have walked, and many of them painful, some of them not, some of them successful and fun. And so I want more people to go on the success and fun ride and less people to go on the pain and suffering ride. And if I can help them to avoid pain and gain pleasure, or either or, then I'm good. That's a good day for me. That's a good meeting. That's a good conversation. That's a good podcast. That's a good book. Right? All of it's good. Yeah.
All right. 5 years from now, 2026, just take a breath and just think for a moment. What does your life look like 5 years from today?
Probably almost exactly the same. I think I'll still be doing what I'm doing. I will be living where I'm living. I will be loving who I'm loving, hopefully more people to love, more. I will encounter more people. I will have helped to bring more books and works into being. I'll probably be writing more fiction than I am now.
I'm excited to hear that. That's cool.
And I will have learned my 5 languages. So far I've learned French and some German, and I have the rest of German, Italian, Spanish, and Russian on my list. So 5 years from now, I will speak 6 languages, including English.
Wow.
So that will be probably the big change. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, if you want to reach out to Honorée in her badassery, go to honoreecorder.com. You can find her there. And, she's amazing. And you can look on Audible, look up Honorée Corder. You can go to Amazon and look up Honorée Corder. And you can see all of the amazing books that she has created. She does. She all the time. I'm excited to hear more about the fiction. I'm definitely excited to hear more about the fiction. I'm excited about that. And I want to say thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I was going to say, go Google Honorée Corder and Rob Active.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll bring up a whole bunch of fun.
Don't go too deep. I give it talk. Don't go too deep on that though.
Some things we have to keep to ourselves, Rob. Thank you so much for having me. This has been just the most fun. It's so nice to actually talk back to your voice instead of just listen to it.
Yeah, it's a treat. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for your support and taking the time out of your busy and precious day to listen. We so appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me, along with my very dear friend and special guest, Honorée Corder, to touch your heart, move your soul, and inspire you to live a life of transformation. I'm Rob Actis. Until next time.
This is Life Transformation Radio. Download complete.